The UAP task force was refused access to a broad crash retrieval program. These are retrieving non-human origin technical vehicles, call it spacecraft if you will, non-human.
Y'all, UFOs are everywhere, to the point where while we wait for disclosure, the average person is actually getting used to them. Some people are more open to the idea that there are things flying around in our skies and they may just be interplanetary or interdimensional, which is a good thing because it means that a lot more people are comfortable pulling out their phones and their cameras, recording their experiences and talking about them freely, which gives us more and more information. But with that information comes disinformation and misinformation. Something that I think that the government works really hard in filtering into our discussions so that we can all get confused and still not know what's going on. Now recently, we had the anniversary of the Phoenix Lights. Yes, you guys remember the Phoenix Lights.
In the skies. If you saw this in the skies over South Florida, would you call me and say, hey, Rob, get a news camera over here? There's something weird going on? Well, these formations appeared last night in the sky over downtown Phoenix, as you see there. The same light formation appeared over parts of Arizona 10 years ago. Now, a movie was made on the formation of the lights, which was released a couple of weeks ago on DVD. But the Federal Aviation Administration says there's a simple answer to the mystery. They're military flares. Get another look at these lights. You can see them on CBS4.com. So nothing to worry about there. Nothing.
Military flares.
Invasion.
Now, that's not the whole clip, and it's not the whole news article, obviously. I'll leave you guys with that at the end. What I want to talk about today, or I guess the clip that I want to bring up, a strange clip, is Dr. Greer bringing up the Phoenix Lights. And normally, I'm kind of okay with the things he says. I know everyone's a little iffy on each whistleblower for different reasons, but they trust them for other reasons. But this next clip, guys, it rubbed me the wrong way, and I want to hear your comments and your thoughts on it. It's Greer doing an interview where he insinuates that essentially that he did the Phoenix Lights, that the Phoenix Lights were a mere CE5 session that he was doing, almost like Chris Bledsoe, and I just find that to be so, maybe not far-fetched, just left field. I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about this. I just feel like, really? Take a look and let me know your thoughts.
For the whole packet of vision to come. And almost every time we've had a significant CE5, it's happened that way. You all have heard of the Phoenix Lights? How many people have heard of that? The thing that, well, most people. In 1997, the Phoenix Lights event happened in Phoenix, all over Arizona, really. And I was there when it happened in March. We were using a digital lab that was actually tied into a covert program, but they were letting me use it. And a picture editor for the BBC was flown in to help me put together this reel of images I've been showing you. And we were doing it to give to members of Congress for the April 1997 briefings in Washington that we were doing for Congress. And so while we're there, while I'm flying in, I'm sitting in my seat, and I'm on a U.S. Airways, I called it U.S. Scareways flight, and U.S. Airways flight, they're now part of American, and we're flying in, and I decided to do the CE5 protocols. And I was told to ask the ETs, so I asked the ETs to do something while I was there that would be unmistakable, that we could get to put on this reel, this video, to give the members of Congress. That was at 5:30 p.m. At 8:30 p.m., the Phoenix Lights happened as a CE5. It was a CE5. And the epicenter where it was right above the lab where I was. And this general, this guy, a former general who worked for Evergreen Transport, a whole bunch of spooks and cutouts for the CIA, came running in. He says, "You wouldn't believe what's going on out there." And I said, "Oh yeah, I would." And so it was on the news that night, all over in the Phoenix area. Now, of course, once I shared this, the UFO subculture covered it up because they think it's all, UFO. It's like the nuts and bolts crowd. of ufology because they don't understand interstellar spacecraft are transdimensional, and their craft and everyone on board are wired into this field of unbounded consciousness. So they don't want to hear that there's a way to actually make contact and use these techniques, although they'll admit that the military has remote viewing, but we can't use it. I mean, it's so ridiculous, dysfunctional. So this happened, and it was great because it ended up on the news. We put it on the reel, and we gave it to all these members of Congress. So the Phoenix Lights was an event that was, and I actually saw that event happening that night 3 hours earlier. It'd be interesting to see what a random number generator would have done. By the way, thousands of people saw this. And Dr. Katai, who's a friend of mine, also a medical doctor, filmed it, took pictures of it. And later, a couple hours later, the Air Force put up flares and said it was a National Guard thing. And Fife Symington, you know, the governor of Arizona, did a press conference because there's so many thousands of people who saw it, and had a ridiculous-looking aide come out dressed up as an alien and made fun of it. Later, he admitted that he himself had seen it and that he was very wrong to have ridiculed it and covered it up. And we have him on videotape. By the way, Michael, that needs to be in this movie. And so the movie was coming out in 6 or 7 months. Y'all know about that? Ho, boy, it's going to be 1,000 times bigger than Sirius. So that is exactly how you do it. So you take these techniques that you're learning over last night and today and apply it out in your groups or by yourself for the purpose of making...
And guys, I don't want to be rude, and I don't want to like try to discredit Dr. Greer. I'm not a doctor, right? I just find the timing weird, and then what he's saying weird, and I feel like he hasn't said this before. And like with everything that he's done and he's talked about, wouldn't you think that that's something that that would be already knowledge that happened? I don't know. I just feel really weird about that interview, and I don't think that I can trust him. And so I feel like that kind of just threw his credibility out of the window, at least for me. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. Now, I do want to give you guys a more full, I guess not the fullest, but a more full report of the Phoenix Lights. One, for those who weren't around, right, and aren't old enough. And two, for those who didn't even know about it at all, you guys get to experience this the same way the rest of us did. This is a report of the Phoenix Lights.
Many believe to be some kind of strange lights hovering over downtown Phoenix. The military guessed that it was a flare test, but others call it the most dramatic UFO sighting in years.
They say the craft was moving very slowly and without any sound at all. The people that saw that believe what they saw was an alien spacecraft. Now Governor Symington himself has launched an official investigation. It is 8:15, the night of March 13th, 1997, and suddenly, over the skies of Polden, Arizona, what is described as a giant, brightly lit boomerang soars through the air, slowly and silently. Just 15 minutes later, that same UFO is spotted by thousands of people over the Phoenix area. People report seeing it, pilots report seeing it in the air, yet military radar screens pick up nothing. Now, in an unprecedented move, Governor Fife Symington is determined to find out what those lights are all about.
The video that I saw a quick glimpse of was intriguing, so I'm going to order a full investigation of this through DPS. We're going to make all the necessary inquiries, and we're going to get to the bottom of it. We're going to find out if it was a UFO.
That's right. Now, the governor is holding a press conference at this very moment. In fact, at the state capitol, reportedly, he says that the DPS has already turned up startling new information about this case. We'll have that for you later on in the evening.
All right. Thank you, Bill Spencer, reporting live. Now, this is not the first time a public official has asked for an investigation into the lights. Phoenix City Council member Francis Emma Barwood asked the mayor to launch an investigation, but that never happened.
You're watching KNXV-TV Phoenix. News 15 at 10 starts now.
A member of the Air National Guard says they were flares dropped during a training mission. But as News 15's Nina Jimenez explains now live from Squaw Peak, some UFO experts say the new theory can't explain all of the sightings. Right, Nina?
Paul, it certainly does not. Now, the Air National Guard out of Maryland is saying that this is only a possibility, perhaps a possibility of what some of those lights people saw were. Now, those who are researching the lights phenomenon, who are researching UFOs, say what took place here was far different than what the Air National Guard says took place. This happened over a period of hours, and it took place all over the state.
Okay, just count to 10 for Bobby.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Chuck and Carla Reardon are two of dozens of Arizonans being interviewed for an upcoming Discovery Channel special devoted to the Phoenix Lights phenomenon. The couple shot video from their backyard the night of March 13th.
We had no idea what it was. We were just real curious.
Yeah, I mean, it was huge across, and they were bright lights suspended in the air.
But the Air National Guard out of Maryland is just now reporting they dropped flares southwest of Phoenix on that night, though the Reardons don't believe that's what they saw.
Video doesn't do it justice. It was huge from our vantage point, at least across.
What's insane is that to this very day, those lights remain a mystery. They started a lot of discussion, they started a lot of controversy, and they have yet to be solved. And maybe one of the best pieces of evidence that the truth really is out there. I hope you guys enjoyed. Check out those UFO videos, paranormal videos, reading Reddit videos, funny videos. Check out all the videos.